Thank you for tuning into my video today on exploring why self-care is so difficult. My name is Elena, and I'm a certified spiritual life coach dedicated to your transformation. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy this video. So I had this insight and I wanted to share it, and what it is something that hit me really deeply, and I was really looking into why is self-care so difficult? Like, why is it so difficult at certain times, in certain instances? And I looked deeper within my own subconscious, and I was expanding that outward and thinking there must be a lot of other people who experience this as well. But the insight that came to me is that your conscience could be very upset at you. Like, your conscience could be upset at your past actions, your past decisions. Your conscience could be upset even at the results that came from trauma. Your conscience could be upset with you for a various amount of reasons. And so because of that, your subconscious almost like acts as a restricting agent to allowing you to actually take care of yourself the way you truly need. So the way I was thinking of it is like, it's almost as if your conscience almost wants to break up with you. Like the you that is a part of the decision making. Now, the insight here that I want to share is that through personal growth that is transformational, able to change whether it's neurological wiring, choices, behavior patterns, but that type of personal growth work, which is honestly self-reflective and healing and humbling, to the point where you desire growth and change, and you have to be able to like open to this pocket of, okay, there might be a better way of operating and existing in the world than I'm doing, and I'm open to finding that. That is a way that you can heal that split and that divide that is happening between your conscience and whatever is driving your decisions. So that's a lot of the work that I do, that I help people with, is to get you back in connection with the part of you that is making the decisions, and are those decisions in alignment with your core values, and have you refreshed to find out what those truly are now. Another insight I had into why it is and can be difficult to act on the self-care that is so important just for maintaining like a positive sense in your spirit, a positive sense in your soul, whether that is, taking care of your physical body better, eating healthier foods, actually choosing movement that allows you to be in the form that you'd like. And it also comes back to decisions. Like, self-care is also decisions that are helping and supporting you to create the best possible moment. Like, when I got that realization and it hit me, I was writing this down as I was sort of in an experience of meditative self-care in the bath, and I just had these insights just like flowing, and I just started writing. And that was a powerful insight for me, that self-care is like a discipline, and it is difficult, and it is requiring of immense willpower. Specifically so when you have gone through immense trauma. And that immense trauma can look a myriad of different ways. And another type of trauma that is often not spoke about to the degree that it could be is the trauma of regretting a decision that had a just irrevocable explosion on your life. And maybe that decision came influenced by substances that were not helpful to you, but now you can't change that decision. Maybe that decision came from good intention, but it was just completely ill-founded. Maybe you let go of someone you truly loved, and then you had to live in the wake of that heartbreak every day for the rest of your life. When you're reaching for someone and they're not there, it's like you're drowning and you're reaching for water, but somebody just keeps shoving you back under. Like, that's the experience of regretting a decision that you can't change, that you really wish you could change. That feeling makes it incredibly hard to choose into self-care. So alternatively, maybe your past is something you feel really bad about. Maybe your past is something you have a lot of shame about. And so all of those feelings together can be this ginormous hindrance to you feeling just the inspiration to make a cup of tea. Like, you feel what I'm saying? That whatever those traumas or hindrances are, whether it's that something happened to you that has harmed you and wronged you and just really, I almost would say, like, dismantled the elegance and beauty of your spirit, like demoralized the structure, you know, of how you operate, like something so traumatic like that, right? All of those feelings, the part of you that wants to take care of you can just like shut off, because it doesn't want to face that every single day. It doesn't want to live with that story every single day. So it almost would rather like retract and not support the well-being of you, because it makes it not as real, which is a strange insight. And also your subconscious not wanting to take care of you, i.e. not giving you the motivation or the energy to make the healthy decisions, make the healthy choices, is also a form of punishment. It's a way to punish yourself for those things. And so if you notice yourself, you know, whether it's putting off tasks that you know you should be doing, or not eating in the way that you truly want to be eating, or you're withholding yourself from experiencing genuinely nourishing relationships out of whatever reason is prohibiting you from that. I'm going to pause for just a second to get back on my train of thought. Yeah, that it is a form of punishing yourself, and it's like not choosing you. Your conscience is not choosing you, but then that is the invitation, that's the opportunity to do the work so that you can become the version of you that your conscience wants to take care of. And that's the beautiful opportunity for healing here. So that's the exploratory work of mindset, spirit, conscience that I do, and what I do internally for myself, and then how I offer clients to, I want to say, not rewrite, but it's almost like rework. I like that because I think there's so many really unhealthy, albeit toxic, spiritual premises of like just, you know, writing out a new script for your life and envisioning and dreaming. And it's like, but there's no actual work on the psyche that was traumatized. There's no actual work on the psyche that perhaps its decision-making barometer is a little bit, you know, out of whack and needs to be tweaked back into integrity. I feel like these things are so paramount first and foremost before we ever begin that journey of trying to create a different life experience. But what I'm loving lately is recognizing that a new life experience starts with those small window moments. Those small window moments of how are you creating this moment to be a representation of the life that you'd like to live? How is this moment a fragment of the tapestry that you'd like your entire life to look like? So that's been a really huge healing practice for me to live into. Whether that is choosing a moment to practice yoga when everything in my body is saying exhausted, tired, overwhelmed, don't feel like it, no, not happening. What is it that gets the mat out and starts practicing? What is that? And to me, that is this essence of your soul's power to override the momentary feeling. And to me, that shows you're truly conscious. You're truly conscious. I would say your conscience is leading you when you have the ability to make decisions not from a momentary feeling. Like, you have to have an override faculty, an override capacity in your mind, in your I think your mind is such an important word to say, because there's so many teachings in a spiritual community to really, like, almost just shut your mind off and put it over to the side. It's like, no, 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 no. Your mind is a great tool and a necessary ally in order for you to really get in line with the type of person you need to be to create a life of joy, a life of harmony. Sorry, the audio on that last video was a little bit strange, I think, because I'm recording so much and it's probably a lot of energy for my phone to hold, and then a lot of data as well. So I think this one is going to match up my words and then the video feedback as well. So that's just, to me, a really exciting thing, a really exciting journey. And then you get to a place where your conscience gets to be the one that is saying, okay, I'm leading this. And to me, that's that shift that happens where you go from operating based on momentary feelings of what is comforting or what is not comforting, leading your life, versus your conscience is leading your life. And you've done the work. And what I mean by the work is like excavating, like chiseling away. And it really is a difficult, hard act of like how you would chisel. I almost feel like this like stone sculpture, you know, that would not be an easy task. That would not be an easy undertaking. And that's really what it is. You have to like chisel away the part of you that makes those unhealthy decisions, that makes those like toxic reactions, that makes those split second decisions that actually harm your future. You know, it's like getting back the reins to your conscience to lead a life of love and purpose and dignity. And so one of the things that I usually teach, and it's one of the things that I've been practicing for myself, is whatever you notice, and this, I'm going to say this because it's like so many people want to shy away from owning this, but it's like, bro, just be real, accept it. Every person watching this most likely has a toxic trait. And just try to ask the people in your life, hey, what's my toxic trait? I guarantee they'll have a list for you of what it is. So be ready, because that's like a healing salve. That's a nourishment if you actually want to do the work. But be cautious and careful about who you ask, because not everybody is going to give you an answer that truly supports your well-being. Some people may give you an answer that supports their comfort. There's a difference between that. So I would ask somebody who's doing personal work on themselves, but who also loves you and sees the vision of where you want to be. And so they can give you an answer that helps you tweak the character qualities or the decisions or the actions you've done that would, once shifted, then support you in going in the direction, you know, of your soul's true north, you know, your true trajectory. You know what I mean? And how can I say this? Like, not just getting feedback of how to be more pleasant to other people, but how to actually heal. So that's just, you know, one little practice that is available. I'm just reading from my notes because I just sat down and I was writing for like probably 3 hours. I had all this just like insight flowing through me, so I had to write it down. So what I encourage when you're on a personal growth journey, and, you know, if you were to work with me, this would be an example of what I would guide you into. And it would typically be like, what is the opposite direction of the actions or the choices in your life that have caused chaos? Like, what would be the opposite trajectory? If you've been in different scenes that don't have a source, like a life source of God, maybe you need that. Maybe that is spending more time slow and still in nature. Maybe that is challenging yourself. So these are the practices that I guide people, clients into, and myself as well. And it's oftentimes geared within the parameters of, a lot of times the healing that you're looking for is on the opposite spectrum of the decisions and the choices that have been causing havoc in your life. So maybe that is getting you connected with God, getting you back connected with God, and having that wellspring life source of a truly God nutrient supply to your mind, to your body, to your soul. It's very healing, very humbling, very like dismantling of what isn't accurately true or good, for longevity, for harmony, like so much. Maybe it's building a dedicated practice of martial arts. Maybe it's building a dedicated practice of yoga. Maybe it's spending more time in nature. Maybe it's doing the opposite of what you usually do. And it's also learning how to, in essence, control your emotional response to life. So it's that leadership internally that says, oh yeah, you're gonna take that class. You don't feel like it? Okay, but you're going. Or it's that sense of, when you're angry or you're triggered, you're not gonna speak from that place. You're gonna wait. You're gonna pause. You're gonna breathe. You're gonna employ a mindset tool, a mindset tactic that allows you to access a higher perspective of thought, so you can actually truly reach harmony and healing, homeostasis in this moment with a person that you say you care about, or that you want to create, more rapport with, or more harmonious relationships with, right? So it's like, that's all a part of activating your conscience. Is your conscience, I don't want to say it's devoid of emotion, because your emotions can kind of give you insight into where your conscience is, but your conscience is like an elevated state above that. So your conscience can override emotions to help you do the right thing, to help you do the difficult thing that is in line with your values and your integrity. So anyway, I just felt really called to share this insight, this teaching. It's been a long time since I made a teaching video, so bear with me if my words are flowing more like a brook rather than a waterfall. But sometimes that can be nice for people to have the space to process what I'm saying. So yeah, I just wanted to be brave and show my courage to express a teaching that has been really alive for me, and pouring through me. As I said, writing for hours about this. So, and it was just important for me to talk about this topic, because I think it's really important, not only when it comes to the context and framework of each individual person creating or fostering the habits and skill sets and abilities that support them in having a really harmonious, nourishing life, but then also at the same token, when more and more people start employing these skills and these abilities and these tactics, it creates a general widespread sense of harmony that can reach worldwide, because it's accessible to everyone. So this is the work I love doing. This is the work that fuels my spirit, fuels my heart. This is my purpose. This is my calling. I love excavating this awareness. And also what it gets down to as well is like when you get humble and honest with yourself, I truly believe it builds empathy and compassion, because then you have a million times less judgment for other people, because you understand that most of the time actions or choices are coming from an unconscious place, and that's why they're so chaotic or they're so havoc inducing. Anybody that's inflicting harm, you can just be rest assured that they are not in a place of conscious self-awareness where their integrity is leading. They're unconscious, or something else unhealthy is leading and driving their actions, or is guiding the motives for their behaviors. And so I feel like that brings in a lot of, like, not forgiveness, but sort of, because you understand the shift it could take to change every action to be more harmonious, which is that self-awareness, reflection, and healing work. So if you feel inspired by this video, by this talk, by this teaching, to work with me on your personal growth journey, and I will say, it's not going to be a breezy, easy process. Like, one of the things I always ask my clients before we begin is like, do I have your permission to challenge you? Do I have your permission to say the uncomfortable things? Because it's like when I'm working with a client, and I feel the people, my friends that are very close to me will probably say this and reflect this back to me as well, but I sometimes can view like people as like Swiss cheese is the one that has the holes in it, right? And so it's like I see sometimes the holes, and I'll just like speak to that energy that I'm feeling, and then I help them open it and then do the inner work that it takes to like fill it with healthier mindsets, healthier practices, healthier tools. And then sometimes it's like insight work. Sometimes it is looking at, your past family dynamics. Sometimes it's trauma work. Sometimes it's like meditation and reflection. It's so beautiful and complex and deep, but I love it. So yeah, a lot of my work focuses around somatic psychology too. So it's like incorporating your body and your mind, and allowing your psyche to have a safe place to heal, to explore. And for me, I feel as a coach, one of my like grounding pillars is I truly believe empathy is one of the highest forms of intelligence. And I've never heard that expressed anywhere. That's just my internal belief, my internal feeling and sense, and I want to say like truly a guiding force in my life, because that's something I'm always reaching for that. And I value having connections with people who value that too. Whether that is, I value working with a client that also values deepening their empathy, because that's something I can really give you when you're sharing with me an experience of like a traumatic moment you had or a trigger you had with somebody. I can give you that insight into perhaps how that person may be operating, or like how their wiring is influencing what happened. And so when you take a step back and you breathe into empathy, it allows you to have access to the energy that can actually transform your experience into more harmonious encounters. So that's what I really love. That's what I'm super passionate about. I offer a lot of coaching opportunities with me. If you're local, you can absolutely work with me in person just as a coach and a mentor, and we can go to cafes and you can sit with me and talk to me about the challenges coming up in your life, and then I can offer you insight and practices and help you kind of, I want to say, like clear your soul, clear the imprints that have really caused trauma and havoc in your life. And there's a lot of spiritual practices that I do for myself and that I also bring to my clients, and their experiences that you'll learn if and when you work with me. It has a lot of, I've studied a lot of Tibetan Buddhism. I was raised Christian, so there's influence of of that. I also have studied various spiritual traditions from around the world. I lived in China for a year. I'm a certified spiritual life coach. I'm a 200-hour registered yoga teacher. So I have actually in the lineage of Manorma as one of my gurus. So she was in the direct lineage of the 12 fathers of yoga. So it's like my practice is steeped, I want to say, in something ancient. And that's what I love to give you, is something organic and true that will really be a salve for your life. I also offer online mentorship. So if you're not, in close proximity to me, you can also still access working with me one-on-one. It could be through a video coaching call, or a lot of times I've had the most transformational experience with clients when I do phone calls. So that way the person doesn't have to worry about, okay, what is my face looking like, or looking at their reflection, but they're more just like actually able to go within. So that can oftentimes be a really healing experience if somebody who's like wanting to do personal transformation work, but they also have anxiety and like kind of some self-criticism of getting on video. Totally fine. I totally accept and love to work with people just through phone call. Like it sort of be like telehealth, sort of like that. But this type of coaching, it's different than counseling, because I'm not just going to be hearing your problem. I'm going to be, yes, hearing, and then we're also going to be setting parameters for the growth experience. We're going to be setting, goals, and then we're going to be doing transformational healing processes to move whatever trauma is there out of your body. And then also, like, as I said, reworking your psyche to be more harmonious. And that's probably my biggest why too in doing this work, is because the more people that become conscious, self-aware, considerate, compassionate, insightful, deep, purpose-driven, warm, loving, like enlivened people, the more harmony there can be in the world. And so it's like I don't just have the desire to support individual people. And for me, it's not even about like only wanting to work with the people who can afford working with me. I always, if I can, make it available for anyone to work with me at whatever rate, so that anyone who wants to experience the transformational work that I can provide gets to. Because that's something I really see is hugely missing in the personal development world. Because I really do feel like, I don't know, when you look at the life wheel, it's like there's so many elements that can give you fulfillment: life, relationships, health, spirituality, finances, fitness, but there's also contribution and giving back. And so it's like that has to be a pillar if the work you're providing as a coach truly is service. Like there needs to be some element of pro bono, gratis, as well as paid work. So I do have coaching packages and monthly rates at set prices, but if you message me saying, that that's just out of reach for you for whatever reason, but like this is something you could do, or you're open to like a payment plan, or let's say you have some skill or service you could trade to me, I am open and flexible to those things, because I don't like to be elitist or excluding people that truly deserve or need to be able to really experience profound healing in their life. So yeah, I will just also throw in there that another practice I super, super love is authentic relating. Those are classes and workshops you can find all over the country, and they're free. So, if you're kind of like, what is her work like? That is like a taste. That's like a toe dip into it. I focus a lot on helping you have the most authentic life experience possible. And then from there, what good are you going to give out to the world? Like that's really the greater motivation, the greater purpose, so that you can be an agent of I would say, positive healing in the world, is the ultimate goal, right? And one last insight I will leave you with before I close this little stream is there was an insight that was recently just shared that I saw about how, in the ancient days, kings and very, just high profile men often had female women mentors. And these were women who had the ability to see from different perspectives, who were able to see like the string that connected things, who were able to see, oh, if you make this one tiny shift, you might be able to have more success in your relationship. Okay, if you make this one adjustment, you might be able to complete those tasks that you want to complete. Oh, if you had this empathy realization, you might be able to put forth more warmth in your life experience and in the way you relate to people in the world. And if you had this personal growth practice, you might be able to create a legacy of more purpose and more contribution and more harmony and well-being in the world, in the service and the work that you do. So my work is not just for women. I also coach men. I love coaching young people all the way to 70 plus. Like, I truly have a love and desire to serve people and their well-being journey. So if you want to work with me for any of these reasons, you want some nourishment for your soul, you want to explore your growth journey, what that looks like, you want to bring more integrity into your life, whatever again that looks like for you, you want some accountability in your spiritual growth journey, you want to really catapult your purpose in the world, you want to focus on healing trauma, you want to create the best relationship possible, like whatever it is, and I can support you or serve you or help you in any way, just send me a message and we can see if working together would be a good fit. And I have like a little survey questionnaire to kind of just see if my specific style of coaching is going to be what you need. And then I offer a lot of opportunities and packages. So it's like you could do a 1-month coaching session, you could do a 3-month coaching package is what I usually recommend, because I feel then we can do the deepest amount of work together. Then there's also spotlight coaching, which is just 1 hour and you can kind of have it whenever you need. So there's like discounted rates for that. But yeah, I'm so excited to work with you and get to know you more and support you on this journey. So thank you, and I hope you have an amazing day.